Texas Tech men's basketball and Grant McCasland has their new top assistant, and it's Wyoming head coach Jeff Linder. In today's video, we'll discuss his, career resume, what Texas Tech is getting, and much, much more. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast. And if you haven't already, be sure to like the video, hit that subscribe button, but head down to the comments and answer me this question. Grade the hire of Jeff Linder as the top assistant for Grant McCasland. I think a lot of y'all watching, and rightfully so, didn't know who he was. I barely knew who he was just because of a tournament appearance a couple years ago. But I want to hear from you guys, and maybe you can wait till the end of the video to let me know. But give me your grade for the Jeff Linder hire as Grant McCasland's top assistant coach. A, B, C, D, or F, down on the pinned comment below. All right, let's jump into this because, I don't know where the hell this came from. Nobody had this in the Texas Tech space that I'm aware of. But Texas Tech is set to hire Jeff Linder, the active head coach at Wyoming. He will take a demotion, at least in terms of where he is. His title is active head coach, now top level assistant for Grant McCasland. And we'll discuss their relationship here in just a second. But at Wyoming, he went 63-59 over 4 seasons up in Laramie as the Cowboys head man. Now, he did take them to the NCAA tournament and actually got an NCAA tournament bid outright with the team that went 25-9. Not too bad up there. Now, he has been below 500 the past 2 years, including a season where they did not win double-digit games up in Laramie. Now, before that, he was at Northern Colorado, where he went 80-50 over 4 seasons and actually won a CIT championship, the tournament just below the NIT. This is where the hire comes into play in terms of, okay, what's the tie here, right? The tie is that Linder actually coached on Grant McCasland's staff for 3 years at Midland College in the JUCO ranks. That's the connection there. Linder, 46 years old. Obviously, Grant McCasland, close to the same age. They connect well. They've worked well together. Now, I'm getting pretty early on in this video in terms of my take of the hire. Again, I want to hear from you guys down on the pinned comment below. But some things that stood out to me were this. And again, shout out to Pete Thamel of ESPN. He was the one that actually broke the news. It was not anybody in the tech space. It was actually Pete Thamel, a national reporter. So tells you all you need to know on that front. Now, overall for me, my first gut reaction was, oh, this is great. You know, they're hiring an active college basketball head coach. This has got to be an A hire. But after I looked at everything he's done at Wyoming, some of it impressive, some of it on the opposite ends of the spectrum, I give it a B grade. I think it's always good to have that head coaching experience, albeit at the mid-major level, on your staff if you're Grant McCasland as your top assistant. And to have a previous relationship can go a long way just in terms of you know what to expect from that head coach. You know what to expect from that now assistant coach in Jeff Linder. So I think that that's very important to have that dynamic ironed out and already established for him to come out to the 806. Now, that being said, what did they do well at Wyoming under his tenure? Well, last year they were almost a top 50 team on the 3-point percentage in the country, according to Bart Torvik. But outside of that, they were ranked in the 113 range, 156 range in terms of offense and defense. Nothing really stood out. Now, they did have a couple of guys that transferred out of there this portal cycle, the one that includes Texas Tech landing Elijah Hawkins, Kevin Overton, Fetty Squared, right? Those guys. They had one go to TCU and Winsell. That was, a Texas Tech target. And he went to Oklahoma State. He went to Oklahoma State, did Winsell. And then they also had another guy that went to Drake. So, they obviously had some talent on the roster. But overall, looking at it, went to the NCAA tournament as a head coach. You like to see that. But the big thing for me in this, in terms of, is he better than Dave Smart? I'll flat outright say it. No, I think Dave Smart's a better coach. There's a reason Dave Smart got the Pacific job and is absolutely killing it right now on the recruiting trail, actually landing 2 former Red Raiders in Lamar Washington, Elijah Fisher, and a guy that Texas Tech was recruiting in the high school ranks in Jazz Gardner almost 2 years ago. But I don't think he's Dave Smart in that regard. Is it a huge drop-off? No, but I do think there is a drop-off. I think Jeff Linder is a good coach right? In terms of what he's done at Wyoming with limited resources and getting guys to go to the next level, has had 2 guys get NBA contracts during his time there at Wyoming, so he can help in that regard. But really what it comes down to is that base level understanding as an assistant coach. And I don't think it can go understated in terms of knowing how people work around you. I think that creates a smooth work environment, especially in college basketball, one that is hectic and at the blink of an eye can change. I mean, shoot, I put out a video yesterday here on the channel that said, I don't think there's anybody in terms of the assistant coach really being talked about right now. Go look around. Nobody was talking about Jeff Linder in terms of him being the top assistant for Grant McCasland, but here we are. He is stepping away from the Wyoming job and becoming a top-level assistant at a power now, well, I guess 5 program in college basketball, including the Big East, obviously, under Grant McCasland. And so, again, he spent 3 years with Grant McCasland at Midland College in the JUCO ranks. They went their separate ways after that. Linder was the head coach at Northern Colorado in the D1 ranks, and then also Wyoming. Had a lot more success at Northern Colorado than he did Wyoming, although he did take Wyoming in year number 2 of his tenure up there in Laramie to the NCAA tournament with a 25-9 record, as I mentioned. But again, I'm going to give this hire a B. I think it is a solid hire, but I'm not, floored by it, if that makes any sense. I think this is one of those things, again, where I probably sound like a broken record. I've already mentioned it once in this video. It's always a good thing to take a head coach in terms of from another school, even if it's from the mid-major, and make them an assistant, because that allows you to have another mind that understands what's going on from the day-to-day process of a head coach, and one that, Grant can find it, right? Like, that's something that's important in this crazy landscape that is college basketball. So once again, went 63-59 over his 4 years at Wyoming, made the NCAA tournament, as I mentioned. But the big key here is the connection to Grant McCasland, where he coached 3 seasons with Grant McCasland at Midland College, as Jeff Linder is now the new top assistant on the Texas Tech staff. That includes guys like Matt Brower, Luke Barnwell, you got Buff, you got AC, and now, well, you got JF. That doesn't have as good of a ring to it. We'll just call him Jeff Linder on that one. But he will be the top assistant, replacing Dave Smart, who went out west to Pacific to take that head coaching job. Let me hear from you guys one more time on the pinned comment down below. Grade the hire. Again, I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's not a home run in my opinion, but it's a solid B. I want to hear from you guys and give your take on the hire for Grant McCasland's new top assistant and now former Wyoming head coach Jeff Linder for, well, the 2024-2025 Texas Tech men's basketball staff. It's now complete. Now they got to go get active in the portal, as Grant McCasland and crew have done a sensational job at so far. I am RC Maxfield, reminding you one more time, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video, hit that subscribe button. Almost to 10,000. Almost to 10,000. That's impressive. Thank you all once again. And be sure to turn on that notification bell to stay in the know on all things Texas Tech men's basketball on the hardwood, in the portal, and in the high school recruiting ranks. We've got you covered right here on the largest group of Texas Tech fans on YouTube in the Back to 12 podcast channel.